Welcome everybody to the ASUS ROG talk. My name is Thomas Killian and I'm your host today. We're going to hear to talk about monitors, OLED monitors in particular. And I think we're going to start right away with the most important one. We have now finally a 32-inch 4K OLED gaming monitor. And I've seen some of the reactions online when it was announced, and people are just going crazy over it. Can you explain to us a little bit why is this particular combination so important that we now have here from ASUS?
Well, I'll start. For me, this is why I'm here at Gamescom. The 32-inch 4K, 240 hertz OLED. It's like ticks every box you ever wanted from a monitor. Obviously, it'll be quite pricey when it comes out. I think early next year is what they're saying. But we've had 27-inch Quad HD. We've had the 42 and 48-inch 4K OLED, which have been fantastic. But a bit too big for most people's desks. And I think 32-inch at 4K, for me, is like the sweet spot. So having made a video on it yesterday on the Tech Chap channel, and we were discussing earlier that he watched it on the way up today. He was watching my video, so it's quite fun. But it's something we've been looking forward to for a long time, and it's great to see.
It was actually quite entertaining watching your reaction going in between the 32 and the 34 the entire time. I was like, I'm not quite sure what I like more here. For you, Trilluxe, as a pro player, like, what are you looking for here? Like, what is your personal take on it, and how do you judge the quality of monitor, and how much of an impact does it have on your own performance?
Yeah, so I've been given the chance to test the 27-inch monitor for 2 or 3 days now. And as you said, it ticks all the boxes. You have 240 hertz. You have the very fast refresh rate, of course. Yeah, 0.03 milliseconds response time, which is awesome. And for me personally, I've been playing Counter-Strike for like 10 years, which is a pretty niche game when it comes to peripherals, I would say. Because people want a good refresh rate, but also features like the shadow boosting feature that you get with these monitors, where you can really boost the shadows. I mean, OLED is great for getting the really dark blacks and all, but in Counter-Strike, visibility is also quite important. And having deep blacks is not always that good, because you want to boost the shadows so you can see dark models in front of dark backgrounds. And that's a feature these monitors come with, and that's great for competitive gameplay also.
This was one of my questions. I was like, obviously we love OLED because the deep, inky, true blacks, because the pixels can turn themselves on and off, and we'll talk more about that later. But my first thought was that's the last thing you want when you're playing a competitive game and you want to see people hiding in the shadows. So obviously, as you say, the shadow boost, even it feels like you shouldn't do that on an OLED display, but it makes sense to allow you to play it.
Yeah.
Besides the monitors we've already talked about, there's also the ultra-wide monitor. Where do you see the use case for that? Which users does that respond to the best?
Well, for me, I think once you go ultra-wide, you can't go back.
Is that so?
That is so. And I like it a lot. Obviously, it's Quad HD rather than 4K, so it's not quite as sharp. And it is still, I guess it's still OLED. Although it uses a WOLED, slightly different pixel structure. Although I am very curious, and I hope you don't mind, if by way of hands, can I ask, do people prefer glossy or matte? So hands up if you prefer glossy screens. Very bright lights in my face. I can see a handful. Hands up if you prefer matte screens.
It's equal?
I think more matte people.
Yeah.
More matte people.
I had a bit of a laugh when I watched the video, because one of the things that I did, I dove straight into the comments, and there were pretty much only 2 responses. First was, thank you. Finally, the combination that we wanted and needed. And the other one was just an endless battle over matte and glossy. It was quite interesting.
But to answer your question, I think the difference between the 16:9 and the ultra-wide, I think the ultra-wide has they both have smart KVM switches, but the ultra-wide allows picture by picture. So you can utilize that bigger screen space a little bit better with the ultra-wide.
But that's actually a really cool feature. Honestly, for me in particular, when I saw that, I absolutely love that as a feature, that you have a smart switch where it now enables you to just connect your laptop, for example, to the monitor and literally just transfer files over without any problem at all. As somebody, if you're a streamer, if you are a gamer, but you're also working with your PC, you're always running into the same problem. You're having tons of tools, chat tools, email tools, any program that you need for work on your gaming PC as well, and that can cause all kinds of problems, as I think you are probably very well aware of.
To be honest, for me, it was totally new. I didn't know about KVM switches at all. And I actually had to do some research, finding out what that is. And I've been streaming on a single PC streaming setup ever since I started streaming in 2014. And this is a feature I'm going to test at home because I've been thinking about switching over to a dual streaming setup for obvious reasons. When you stream and play on the same PC, you get much less frames per second compared to a solution like this. So that's, apart from gaming, really a great feature to try out.
I'm pretty much in the same boat as you are, because I would love to have just one dedicated machine, let's say a laptop, where I have just a few work tools and I don't have to commingle all of this. So this as an additional feature, and obviously also a selling point for an ASUS monitor here, that was, I mean, honestly was mind-blowing to me, because same with you, I didn't know about that before, and I tried it here, and just the file drop alone, even without it, I would already take it. But that
I still don't understand how it works, but just dragging and dropping a file from one desktop to the another is so convenient.
I can't say I've ever used it, but I like the idea of it. Can I ask you, do you prefer regular 16:9 or ultra-wide?
When it comes to first-person shooters, you want to go with 16:9, of course, but I do also play some racing games, and I never had an ultra-wide gaming monitor, but I can see the point of having one. For racing, it's awesome. Also, if you work on it, as you said, you can have two desktops beside each other. That would be great. But for competitive games, competitive FPS, you want to go with the 16:9.
I find this fascinating because we were talking earlier off stage how there's like casual gamers who want the best immersive experience, and then there's pro gamers who want they don't care about color, vibrancy, and deep blacks necessarily. They want the fastest response time, and it's all about. There's like the aesthetic, immersive factor, and there's the pro factor. So like we come at this from quite different angles, and I quite like that.
We're actually going to take a quick look also at those monitors, and then we're going to be back in just a second. So let's take a quick look at the trailer. All right, final question for you boys. If you had to pick one, which one would you take?
I think I know your answer.
I like the 32-inch. I think I love a 40. Big is better, I think, usually, for most things. But I think the 49s, I do like the 49-inch super ultra-wides, as it's technically not called. But they're often just a bit narrow. I wish they were sort of 32:9, 32:10, which I guess is a display manufacturer issue as opposed to an OEM, but I find them a bit letterboxy, as cool as they are. So for me, the OLED, 240 hertz, 32-inch, chef's kiss. I want one.
Fair enough. Trilluxe?
I think that's a good all-rounder, but since I come from a niche gaming scene, I would say the 27-inch is perfect for me, because with those FPS games, you tend to get really close to the monitor. And as we talked earlier, you sit like this by gaming, quite relaxed. So I would go with a 27-inch.
Guys, thank you very much for joining me. And with that, we are finished with our talk about the monitors, but obviously, as highlighted earlier, we're going to talk also about a few other things, and we're going to have particularly Trilluxe back to talk about esports. There's also a lot of peripherals that we're going to touch upon when it comes to how you can advance your gaming career. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.